After proposing to Elias Gu 99 times, he finally agreed to marry me at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I dressed up carefully and waited from morning till night at the bureau entrance. What I got in the end was just one line from him. I'm helping Nova get her dog registered. Let's reschedule the marriage registration. The next second, Xia Nova posted on her social media. Someone still comes running whenever I call. Wonder if on his wedding day, if I call out, would he run away from the ceremony to come to me? Yes. I stared at that single word yes for a long time, and suddenly it all felt meaningless. I pulled a number from my memo and dialed it calmly. Aren't you wanting a marriage alliance with me? The Civil Affairs Bureau closes in half an hour. Are you coming? The person on the other end seemed shocked by my words, stammering for ages before managing to reply. Really? I'm coming. Wait for me, I'll be right there. After speaking, Fu Atlas hung up quickly as if afraid I'd change my mind. In less than 20 minutes, a black Maybach sped over and stopped steadily in front of me. He'd always been lazy and laid back since we met, rarely serious. This was the first time I'd seen him in a suit. Seeing I didn't move, he leaned his pretty face close to mine, pretending to threaten me. Shin Eleanor, a man's word is his bond. If you dare back out, I won't. Let's go. After getting our marriage certificates, he carefully tucked mine into his pocket. Looking at how precious he acted, if I didn't know he only wanted me for my auspicious birth date for an alliance, I might actually think he had feelings for me. Before parting, Fu Atlas tilted his chin at me. I'll pick you up for the wedding in a week. I nodded. As soon as I got home, Elias Gu also returned. He glanced at me, said nothing, and hurried into the villa. Watching his fleeing back, I clenched my hands at my sides. Inside the living room, my parents and several close uncles were already sitting on the sofa waiting. When they saw me, my mother smiled and waved. Eleanor, you must have the marriage certificate, right? I asked Elias just now, and he said he didn't. I subconsciously looked at Elias Gu. One of the uncles joked, obviously. Who doesn't know our little princess has loved Elias since she was little, wishing she could keep him by her side all the time. Something as important as a marriage certificate must be safely kept by her. At this, Elias Gu's face darkened. He stared straight at me, his eyes filled with disgust and implication. It was piercing and painful. I knew he was waiting for me to explain to our parents. For a second, meeting his gaze, I almost did. But when the words reached my lips, I suddenly didn't want to anymore. It didn't matter anymore. Why should I still care about his feelings? He deserved to taste the anxiety of waiting. I shook the bag in my hand and smiled. Yeah, it's with me, but I can't show you yet. By the way, we've set the wedding date. It's in a week. After saying that, I greeted everyone and went upstairs to my bedroom. More teasing came from behind, all talking about how deeply I loved Elias Gu. They weren't wrong. Elias Gu came to my house when he was 10. We were childhood sweethearts who grew to love each other. But he didn't see it that way. He thought my affection for him was a joke, an insult. He hated even more that others favored him because of me. All his love and patience were given to another girl. No matter how sincere I was, no matter how many times I humbled myself to propose, he only felt disdain. But how could he know that after I told my parents how I felt, the Song family had turned down countless alliance suitors for me, suffering countless hidden setbacks from others? In this circle, if you weren't at the very top, refusal was a stance, and isolation meant being preyed upon. My previous decision to marry no one but him had been nothing but harmful. Now, I didn't need the Song family to pay for my love. And I didn't need him anymore. Just as I was about to close the door, a figure burst in. Song Eleanor, we need to talk. Elias Gu slammed the door shut from the inside. Anger flashed across his face. We didn't register our marriage at all. Why did you lie to them? And set a wedding date without asking me? I looked at his clenched fists and said playfully, "Can't I marry someone else?" Elias Gu frowned slightly. "I don't have time to joke around with you. Anyway, go clear up the marriage thing immediately, or it'll be embarrassing for everyone." I hid the bitterness in my heart and walked to the window. "Don't worry, Elias Gu. Nothing like that will happen. It'll be a happy ending for everyone. And you'll be free." Elias Gu frowned even deeper. "What do you mean?" I sighed softly, about to tell him who I married, when the door crashed open. A chihuahua rushed in and snapped at my ankle. Xiao Nova picked up the dog and apologized flusteredly. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Eleanor. I didn't watch day.Do properly. Please don't be mad at her." The puppy was young, and its biting was just playful. Why was Nova so panicked? I looked at her in confusion. She was our housekeeper's daughter, always smiling at everyone, yet always acting cautious around me. So much so that Elias Gu always thought I treated her badly behind his back. Seeing Nova's eyes redden, Elias Gu comforted her tenderly. "It's okay, don't be scared. It was just a little bite, nothing's wrong. Nothing's going to happen." Then he turned to me, his eyes cold and empty. "It's just a dog. Do you really have to make a fuss?" I laughed in anger. I hadn't said a single word the whole time, yet I'd been falsely accused. Just as I was about to retort, a shout came from downstairs saying someone had delivered the betrothal gifts. Looking at the thick list of gifts, Elias Gu's face turned even uglier. Nova's eyes were filled with greed. She couldn't help picking up a painting from the box. "Oh my God, Eleanor. Did Elias Gidge prepare all this for you?" I frowned. There was no way Elias Gu could afford these things. He was just a teenager my family had sponsored. I was about to deny it when Elias Gu grabbed my wrist and pulled me aside. He gritted his teeth and whispered, "Do you have to humiliate me like this? I don't need you to save face for me. I'm telling you the truth, I will never marry you. End this farce now." From his words, I knew he misunderstood. "You're overthinking. This is from day.Do, don't bite that." My words were cut off by Nova's scream. Looking at the painting torn into pieces, I was truly angry. Leaving aside its value, this was my betrothal gift. "Miss Xiao, do you know how much this painting is worth? Did you really fail to watch this 3-month-old puppy, or did you do it on purpose?" At my words, Nova burst into tears, crying harder, even about to kneel. Elias Gu quickly held her up, pointing at me furiously. "Song Eleanor, don't go too far." I slapped his hand away. "Of course, you can pay for her instead." Elias Gu looked as if he'd been insulted, his face turning livid. He clenched his fists and spoke through gritted teeth. "Drop your spoiled rich girl act. I will pay you back." With that, he left with Nova without hesitation. Watching his back, I couldn't help but think of him when he first came to my house. My father found him when he was 10, a shy, timid child. As an only child, I was thrilled to have a companion. He guarded me like an older brother, spoiling me endlessly. Until he turned 18, when someone joked that he was a child groom, destined to marry into the family, and that living off us was a skill. After that, he began to distance himself from me, to hate me. I shook my head and laughed at myself. My feelings for him weren't even worth the gossip from outsiders. By every measure, Fu Atlas was an excellent alliance partner. He was a bit wild and unrestrained, but he was good-looking, had a great figure, and most importantly, had endless money. The day before the wedding, I went to the bridal shop I mentioned to Elias Gu countless times. Every time before, he interrupted me impatiently. I never expected to run into him and Nova there today, him in a suit, her in a wedding dress, looking perfect together. I suppressed the discomfort in my chest and walked in. The manager greeted me warmly when he saw me. "Miss Song, the wedding dress you customized a while ago is ready. Shall I have someone bring it out for you? I hesitated for a second, then nodded. After all, it was a dress I'd spent 3 months designing. There was no need to give it up because of Elias Gu. Manager Zhou, could you please Eleanor Jia? My words were cut off by a female voice. I turned around to see Elias Gu and Nova walking toward me. She trotted over holding her skirt, her eyes lighting up when she saw the wedding dress. Wow! Did you customize this wedding dress? It's so beautiful. Elias Gu frowned when he saw it, as if looking at something disgusting. Nova picked up the dress and said excitedly, "Can I try it on?" Before I could answer, she turned to Elias Gu. "Elias Gij, can you stay and try it with me?" Elias Gu was silent for a second, then smiled and nodded. No. I might have been generous enough to let them be together, but I wasn't generous enough to let someone else wear my wedding dress. Elias Gu's face turned cold instantly, his voice sharp with displeasure. "Song Eleanor, I told you I'm not marrying you. You'll never get to wear this dress anyway. What's wrong with letting Nova try it on?" I held his gaze, my tone firm. "Because it's mine. That's why." No. Elias Gu froze, clearly shocked by my attitude. I'd always gone along with him before. "Elias Gij, I really want to try it on." Nova Xiao clung to his arm, repeating in a small, wronged voice. In the next second, Elias Gu snatched the wedding dress from my hand. "It's just a wedding dress. I'll give it back after she tries it." Nova Xia took it happily, but her skirt caught on a nearby metal rack as she walked. Clothes and mannequins crashed down in a heap. Elias Gu reached toward me instinctively, but Nova Xiao suddenly cried out, "Ah!" His hand changed direction. He wrapped an arm around Nova Xiao's waist and pulled her to safety. I was buried under the mess, a metal rack pressing into my back, every movement agony. After being pulled out, I looked across at Elias Gu, my heart heavy with sorrow. 15 years between us, and it still couldn't compare to Nova Xia, whom he'd known only 3 months. In front of me, the wedding dress lay on the floor, its white fabric stained with dirty high heel prints clearly stepped on. I lifted my eyes to Nova Xia, hiding in Elias Gu's embrace. She smiled at me provocatively. I had enough. I reached to pull her out, but Elias Gu stepped in front of her, his face dark. "Song Eleanor, I know you're upset I didn't save you first, but you can't take it out on Nova. She almost got hit too." I pointed at the dress on the floor, my voice cold. "What about my wedding dress, then?" Elias Gu pressed his lips together, then spoke after 2 seconds. "Nova didn't mean it. Things were chaotic. It's normal she dropped it in fear. As for the prince, just have it cleaned. I'm not showing up to the wedding tomorrow anyway. You can't marry by yourself. Don't make a big deal out of nothing." With that, he took Nova Xia and left the bridal shop. Right after they left, the manager hurried over with his phone. "Miss Song, Mr. Fu asked me to take you to the 3rd floor." Fu. I was surprised to see all kinds of wedding dresses on the 3rd floor. This floor had always been off limits to the public. I'd assumed it stored valuables, never imagining it was full of dresses or that this shop belonged to the Fu family. "Miss Song, all these dresses were made to your measurements. Pick whichever you like." I was even more stunned. I tried asking the manager for an explanation, but he clearly only just found out himself. On my wedding day, I was woken up early to get ready. The makeup artist was about to place the veil on my head when the door burst open. Elias Gu snatched the veil and threw it on the table, furious. "Song Eleanor, how long are you going to keep this up? You know I won't marry you. Why are you so stubborn? Are you trying to force me into this and embarrass everyone?" It was my wedding day, and I didn't want to argue. I took the veil from him and handed it back to the artist, speaking calmly. "Don't worry. Today's wedding has nothing to do with you. I thought this would calm him. But he only grew angrier, raising his voice. Nothing to do with you. Everyone knows this wedding is for you and me. Song Eleanor, you're so selfish. I never knew you were this scheming, hurting others just to get what you want. You're not worth one finger of Nova's. A woman like you, I slapped him before he could finish. He froze immediately. Calm now. Then get out. Once he recovered, his face flushed red with rage. He ground out through his teeth. Fine. Fine. Song Eleanor, I'm telling you now, I will never marry you in this life. You deserve to be laughed at today, and the Song family deserves to be shamed because of you. I stared at him coldly. My parents were right. We'd raised a wolf in sheep's clothing. He could insult me all he wanted, but he had no right to drag the Song family into it, the family that had raised him. I raised my hand to slap him again, but the makeup artist stepped in. Mr. Fu is here to pick you up. Hurry and put on the veil. Elias Gu frowned. Mr. Fu. Pick who up for what? Just then, a familiar voice came from the doorway. Wow. No door-blocking games for my bride. Surprise flashed in Elias Gu's eyes. He studied Atlas Fu's outfit, his gaze stopping at his chest. At the word groom pinned there, his pupils shrank. He already suspected the truth, but still asked, What are you doing here, Mr. Fu? Atlas Fu glanced at him lazily. Marrying my wife, obviously. Can't you tell? Elias Gu's lips trembled. After a long moment, he forced a smile. Young Master Fu, jokes have limits. Atlas Fu chuckled. I stepped to his side. Elias Gu, he's not joking. Today is our wedding. Please move aside. Don't make us late. I tried to walk past him, but he suddenly grabbed my arm. That's impossible. You're supposed to marry me today, not him. I know you're just doing this to provoke me, right? Even now, Elias Gu couldn't see the truth, thinking I was only acting out. I looked at him coldly. Meeting my eyes, he finally realized I wasn't joking or being petty. Panic washed over him. Song Eleanor, do you know what you're doing? Marriage isn't a game. I said I wouldn't marry you, but you can't just rush into marrying someone else. Stop this. It's not too late to fix things. Atlas Fu pulled me tightly into his arms, his expression darkening at Elias Gu. Fix what? Hitting on my wife right in front of me. You got a death wish. I patted his arm to calm him, then turned to Elias Gu impatiently. Enough, Elias Gu. I don't joke about marriage. Atlas is good to me. Today is my wedding, and I don't want to fight. Please respect that. Atlas Fu smiled at my words, tightening his arm around my waist. Someone called up from downstairs, saying it was time to go. Halfway down, Elias Gu rushed out again, gripping my arm hard, his eyes red. No. You can't marry him. Song Eleanor, you wanted to marry me, right? I agree. Let's get married now, okay? Atlas Fu's gaze turned icy as he stared at Elias Gu's hand on my arm, his usual laziness gone. You gonna keep that hand, or not? He grabbed Elias Gu's wrist and twisted it backward. A sharp crack echoed. Elias Gu clutched his hand, veins popping on his forehead, swallowing his scream. A friend nearby pulled him aside, whispering, Elias, stop this. It's too late now. Let's get your hand checked at the hospital. But Elias Gu shoved him away, reaching for me with his other hand, begging. Song Eleanor, don't marry him. You said you wanted to marry me before. I said yes, Eleanor, please don't marry him. I stepped back, avoiding his touch. Elias Gu, that was the past. Now I want you to stay away from me and act like a stranger. Elias Gu froze, staring at me in disbelief. While he was stunned, several people dragged him away. As I stepped outside, I heard his desperate shout. Song Eleanor. I didn't look back, not slowing my steps. Whatever was between us had ended the day I got married at the Civil Affairs Bureau. The wedding was grand, lasting until evening. Elias Gu tried to crash several times, but Atlas Fu's men turned him away before he even reached the door. Atlas Fu came out of the bathroom drying his hair. When he saw me, he looked awkward, avoiding my eyes, his ears faintly pink. I found it funny he usually acted so wild and carefree, yet had such an innocent side. I teased him. Atlas Fu, your abs look pretty good. His ears turned even redder. He lifted his chin. Oh, of course. I've got the best body around. He pulled his towel higher, then grabbed a blanket and sat on the sofa. Seeing my confusion, he cleared his throat. Look, this is just a marriage alliance. We're not that close yet. Don't get any ideas about me. Get some rest. We've had a long day. I sighed in relief. Whether he was joking or not, I wasn't ready to share a bed with him either. It saved me from making excuses. The next morning, I woke up early. To my surprise, Atlas Fu was already waiting downstairs. He smiled and waved at me. Wife, come hear some gossip. The nickname caught me off guard, but I got used to it quickly. What gossip? Atlas Fu signaled to two bodyguards standing nearby. Here's the thing, ma'am. The young master had us watching Elias Gu yesterday to stop him from crashing the wedding. He got dead drunk and caused a scene at your parents' house. Mr. and Mrs. Song listed every bit of support they'd given him over the years, along with everything he'd done lately. Everyone there sided with them, calling him an ungrateful brat. Then Mr. Song completely cut ties with him and kicked him out. Xiao Nova always thought Elias Gu was the only son of Mr. and Mrs. Song. When she found out he was just an abandoned baby they'd taken in out of kindness, she threw a fit. They argued and fought on the street, making a total spectacle of themselves. It's probably the talk of the whole city by now. I listened without any emotional reaction. People always have to pay for their choices. After breakfast, Atlas Fu dragged me out, saying we needed to buy gifts for my first visit back to my parents' home as a married couple. I told him we could just send someone else to get them, but he shook his head firmly, saying he had to do it himself to show sincerity. He was unusually patient the whole way. Wife, what about this? Think Dad will like it. Wife, what about that? Will Mom love it? I massaged my forehead. I never knew he could be this chatty. On the day we returned to my parents' house, as soon as Atlas Fu and I got out of the car, I saw two people arguing at the gate. I frowned. What were Elias Gu and Xiao Nova doing here? Qi. When he saw me coming, Elias Gu panicked and shook off Nova Xiao, running toward me. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with pain. Eleanor, I thought about it all night. I always thought I didn't have feelings for you, or that I was running away. But the second you actually married someone else, I realized I was wrong. I love you. My feelings for you were way deeper than I ever thought. I leaned closer into Atlas Fu's arms. A glimmer of hope appeared in Elias Gu's eyes. So can you give me another chance? This time, I'll cherish you properly. I won't do anything to hurt you again. I promise I'll treat you right, I won't make you sad anymore, I'll love you. Elias Gu, I'm already married. I cut him off, hoping he'd know when to stop. But he ignored me, speaking urgently. You can get divorced. I'll wait for you. I don't care that you've been married. Once you divorce him, we'll be together properly. How could he say something so absurd? Before I could reply, Atlas Fu lost his temper and punched Elias Gu in the face. Are you kidding me? Hitting on my wife right in front of me. You think I'm invisible or something? Elias Gu staggered from the blow. Before he could react, Atlas Fu pinned him to the ground and threw several more punches. When he finally recovered, he grabbed Atlas Fu by the collar and shouted angrily. She was supposed to be my wife. You took her when she was vulnerable. Eleanor doesn't love you at all. She loves me. Why do you think she married you? She's just mad at me. Atlas Fu froze for a second at his words. In that brief moment, he took a punch to the face. I quickly pulled the two apart. I gently touched the red mark on Atlas Fu's lip, worried. You okay? He shook his head, his voice low. I'm fine. I looked at Elias Gu, my voice cold. Elias Gu, you're wrong. I don't love you. I didn't marry Atlas Fu out of anger. I'm his wife now, and I'll only be his wife. Elias Gu was stung by the words and roared unwillingly. You're lying. I don't believe you. Whether you believe me or not is none of my business. But if you touch my husband again, don't blame me for being ruthless. With that, I took Atlas Fu's hand and walked inside. Once we entered, Nova Xiao, who'd been hiding in the corner, stepped out. The sound of their arguing erupted outside again. Bah! 4 days after we got back from my parents' house, Atlas Fu was in a low mood. Even though he pretended not to care like usual, I still caught the sadness that flickered in his eyes every now and then. After his shower, he went to the sofa as usual. I walked over to him. Atlas Fu, let's talk. He looked surprised but moved over to make space for me to sit. What's been wrong with you these days? You don't have to make excuses. I can tell. Ever since you fought Elias Gu, you've been really down. Atlas Fu opened his mouth, then finally looked at me seriously. Can you tell that I like you? I froze. I never expected him to say that. Song Eleanor, I've liked you since that banquet 7 years ago. The marriage alliance wasn't about some birthday compatibility. It's what I've been hoping for all this time. 7 years ago. I vaguely remembered that banquet. Not because I had a good memory, but because Elias Gu's attitude toward me changed completely after that night. Seeing that I seemed to recall something, Atlas Fu went on. Back then, someone was mocking Elias Gu. You smashed a bottle over that guy's head without hesitation. I never met anyone as extraordinary as you. Love is strange. I just thought you were interesting at first, but before I knew it, I'd fallen for you. He smiled bitterly at that. I never thought I'd be the lovesick type. But I waited 7 years. The room fell silent. After a long while, I spoke. So what Elias Gu said got to you? Yeah. I'm scared you really might go back to him. I sighed softly, thought for a moment, then hugged him. I won't, Atlas Fu. We're married now. You're the one I'm going to spend my life with. Once we cleared the air, Atlas Fu turned into an overly clingy version of himself, never missing a chance to gossip about Elias Gu. After being kicked out by the Song family, Elias Gu lost his pampered lifestyle and had to work to survive. Nova Xia kept blaming him for lying to her and demanded compensation. They fought horribly, and somehow ended up sleeping together. Nova Xia asked for 5 million, threatening to send him to jail if he didn't pay. Helpless, Elias Gu had to work 8 jobs a day to earn money. Atlas Fu even showed me a recent photo of Elias Gu. He lost all his former gentle image, haggard, messy hair, unshaven, and completely broken. In just half a month, I could barely recognize him. Atlas Fu smiled in satisfaction at my reaction, straightened his collar, puffed out his chest, and cleared his throat. Ahem. See. Your husband's still the handsome one, right? I looked at him and nodded. Honestly, part of the reason I married him was his looks. Beaming at my approval, he happily pecked my cheek quickly and ran off. I'm gonna go check if dinner's ready. I smiled at his flustered back. I thought spending the rest of my life with him would be really nice. Don't cling to someone who doesn't love you. Humility can't buy true affection, and knowing when to stop is wisdom. The heroine loved the scumbag for 99 times but was disrespected and betrayed. She turned around decisively and chose someone who cherished her, finally gaining happiness. However, the scumbag was ungrateful and favored the scheming girl, eventually reaping what he sowed and ruining his reputation. This tells us, love should be mutual. Stay away from relationships that drain you, cherish those who truly care about you, and self-respect and self-love win you respect and happiness.